Welcome to Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone. We're live inside Muscatine Hy-Vee on 2nd Avenue in Muscatine, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, here's Tony Tone.
Good morning. Joel Krausar here again this morning, guest hosting for Tony Tone on Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone. My last day as the guest host today. We've got an exciting one here for you, so thanks for tuning in live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. We appreciate you tuning in, and go to our Facebook page. You can vote. This is some audience interaction today here on Hy-Vee Today. You can vote for your favorite Easter candy. We pared it down to the March Madness type championship bracket. It's the Reese's Peanut Butter Egg against Starburst Jelly Beans. So go ahead and go to the Facebook page and vote, and we'll update you on those results a little bit later in the show today. Coming up also on the show today, Greg and Charlie Harper from Harper Cycling and Fitness will be with us today, talking a little bit about RAGBRAI. It's also spring, and believe it or not, it is spring, and to get those bikes tuned up so you can get out on the wonderful trail system that we have here in Muscatine, as well as the other great county roads. And it's a great area to be a cyclist, and Harper Cycling and Fitness will give us an update on everything that you can do to take advantage of that tremendous fitness activity here in our community. And so we've got that ability to talk about that a little bit later, but I also want to touch base a little bit. I'm kind of a sports guy. You know, you've heard me on the Muskie Sports broadcasts and such, and Drake Kulik, Muscatine's graduate, who finished his career as a fullback at the University of Iowa, participated in the Iowa Pro Day on Monday. And if you're not familiar with what that is, 31 of 32 NFL teams sent scouts to Iowa City on Monday to work players out to potentially think who they may draft in next month's upcoming NFL draft, as well as look at who their undrafted free agents could be. And the NFL, believe it or not, has 6 or 7 teams that still utilize a fullback, and it's a position that Drake may have an opportunity to get a free agent contract. So he worked out at the Pro Day, had a tremendous day, ran a 4.76 second 40-yard dash, had a 4.21 shuttle time, which is outstanding for a 6'1", 249-pound player, and a 34-inch vertical leap and a 9'11" broad jump. So those are all these testing things that they do to measure athletic ability. And what Drake may have done is separate himself as not only a fullback prospect, but as a guy who can come in and play special teams in the NFL. So Muscatine's own Drake Kulik starting that journey to potentially be a professional football player in the National Football League with that Pro Day on Monday. So tremendous athlete there, represented us very well. A couple touchdowns this year, especially one in that Ohio State blowout, and big senior year for Muscatine's own Drake Kulik. Another athletic feat in Muscatine is cycling. You know, RAGBRAI this is the 46th year of RAGBRAI, and Harper Cycling and Fitness has been a partner in RAGBRAI since almost the very beginning. And I think Greg Harper is going to be riding his bike into the store here in any second now. I think we can go to the Hy-Vee Toyota of Muscatine cart cam, and Greg can bring the bike right in here, and we're getting ready to go here pretty soon. Charlie is here as well. Greg Harper, we'll talk about it in a little bit, so we're going to go right now to the Toyota of Muscatine cart cam, and Greg's going to ride the bike right here into the studio, and you can see he's got one of the wide tire bikes as he come in, which is great for all-terrain riding and in the snow sort of riding as well. It's coming right here through the salad bar, which is Jim Simmons, the store director, came by and a little bit earlier, and Greg said he was gonna ride the bike through, and Jim's excited to see that. So nice and controlled.
That's awesome.
Now, Charlie, did he ride his bike through the house as a kid, or is he frequently ridden bikes indoors?
Only on occasion.
And now he is coming up right up behind us here as we are at the Hy-Vee Today table, right by the bakery and the chef test station here, just by the meat counter. Greg's coming right up here. You can get set up with his microphone. That's the Toyota of Muscatine cart cam. I big thank you again to Toyota Muscatine for bringing us that. So, Charlie, we'll kind of, as Greg's kind of getting set up here, let's talk about RAGBRAI. So it's the 46th year for RAGBRAI, and it starts in Onawa, Iowa, up in kind of west central Iowa, up there on the Soldier River, and it finishes there in Davenport. But we're going to have Muscatine County represented in this ride.
One more time.
And, so how often, so we'll get to Greg, you in a second, and your historical feat, but Charlie, how many RAGBRAIs have you ridden as a cyclist?
Well, I've been on 38 of them, but I've worked on 24 of them, so very little riding then. But in the earlier years, I rode the last 12 miles of the first one, and I rode the last day of RAGBRAI 10, and I've been on all but one day of RAGBRAI since then.
And you mentioned working, so Harper's Cycling and Fitness here in Muscatine is an official bike shop of RAGBRAI, and what does that mean?
Well, we go along and we repair bikes if somebody breaks something, and we have repair parts, and so we go along. There's several other shops. There was 10, so we're one of the ones. We're set up on the road each day. So, and when you ride RAGBRAI, everybody can get a map or have an opportunity. The maps are marked a little bicycle symbol on, so you're riding, okay, you know there's a bike shop going to be there. So we're one of them, we're assigned ahead of time, and so we know where we're going to be in one of the towns. So if you had a flat tire and wanted to buy another tube, why, they know, there's going to be a bike shop up ahead.
And that's so important to keep people going, because it's this ride, my father's ridden it a couple of times. It's kind of more of a lifestyle. Like, these people, they don't want to be off their bike. They don't want to have to go to the sag wagon and ride to the next town. They want to get their bikes up and going as fast as possible, and that's what Harper's helps them do.
Correct.
Now, Greg, you have ridden a portion of all 46 RAGBRAIs. Is that correct? Or all 45, and then soon to be 46?
This soon to be 46, yes. I'm one of a few documented individuals that's ridden parts of every RAGBRAI.
And that goes all the way back. You were 13? Was that the first
13,
time?
Yep. So that very first RAGBRAI, wasn't called RAGBRAI at the time, it was a 6-day ride, and I rode with my sister from Williamsburg to Davenport. And it was, for a young kid that didn't ever ride that far before, it was like, oh, hey, it's a heck of a ride, but it did it, and been doing it ever since.
And so there's some folklore about RAGBRAI, and I think many of us who grew up in Iowa know that folklore. We understand the history of it, but is it true that it was kind of a way for the Des Moines Register reporters to write off like their drinking and their meals that first one? It kind of feels like that's one of the myths or history of it. Do you know, is that kind of some of the history of how it all got started?
Well, there's a lot of facts and stories behind it. The original Donald Call and John Karras wanted to go and write stories about Iowa's from their bicycle and stuff, and so it's just grown to be another big event. It's the world's longest, oldest event of its type, and it keeps growing. Yeah, they had to put a limit on the number of riders because 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people overwhelm some of these overnight towns that they come to. So they've done a good job of just monitoring and making it what it is.
So, and Charlie, you've been a part of the committee, and how did these towns get selected for whether they're an overnight town or they're the ending town like we were a few years ago? How did the communities go about becoming a part of the RAGBRAI ride?
Well, in the last few years, they've sent out a questionnaire to a number. They've sent them out to over 200 communities and answer back. There's some that's not able to go and handle it. Other ones, sure, we want you back. You coming this year? And there's 100 questionnaire they send out. We answer it. I know that this year, Muscatine got the questionnaire, and they told them because of the construction on the riverfront that we couldn't handle it this year, but we want you to come next year. So they're always an invite, and then they come through and more or less put pins in the map of who wants them there and see if they can connect the dots, and that's how it comes out. They know how far ideally they'd like to ride every day, and figured out that there's over 400 miles across the state the way they're going to go, and so they got to kind of divide it up and see which lines up for that.
and like the last day is going to kind of touch into our area, Muscatine County. The last overnight town is Iowa City, and so on Saturday, July 28th, riders will wake up in Iowa City, then they're going to ride, probably have some breakfast in West Liberty, and then they'll go from West Liberty to Atalissa, but then they start to take that turn from Moscow down through Wilton, which is a meeting town, and then they're going to head down and come through, go by Wildcat Den State Park. So an opportunity for our community members to maybe get to the wonderful state park that I don't think we always realize is there, and see all these thousands of riders ride through, and then they'll take the trek up to Montpelier, to Bluegrass, to through Bluegrass, and then they'll finish the ride. It's almost 69 miles that last day, finishing up in Davenport, dip their tires, and go on to where their next stop is.
One of the things you mentioned, a meeting town, some people will say, what's that? Well, the vehicles that have to go on RAGBRAI, they will go on a different route than what the riders do. So each day, at some midpoint, they'll have a meeting town where the other people in the vehicles, the people in the vehicles will go in and meet up with the riders, and so they cross paths. So that's what a meeting town means.
Yeah, and those meeting towns are great opportunities for communities to really promote themselves and sell their wares. You have anywhere from, places like the Wilton Cafe, which I know does buy some stuff here from this Hy-Vee store that we're in. Those are the sort of things that I think a lot of folks, because I remember talking to folks who came from New York and all over the country when RAGBRAI finished here a few years ago. I had a chance to interview some of them with my previous job, and they love those smaller towns because you just don't see those very often in some of these bigger metropolitan areas where people are coming from. And to have those true essences like a Wilton or a West Liberty where you can really promote it, and we're beneficial at Muscatine having it as an ending town, that they dip their tires and they hang out in our community before they leave. But it's just, RAGBRAI is one of those things that's kind of a one-of-a-kind thing nationally. Are there any other states who do rides like what Iowa does?
There are several other states that have organized rides similar to RAGBRAI. Missouri has them, Nebraska, Minnesota. There is actually a tour group organization that the RAGBRAI is a part of, that they talk and communicate with other tour directors to go and promote their rides and events around the country. So yeah, there are other rides, but RAGBRAI is unique and it's the oldest and the longest of its type. So there are other just weekend or 3-day rides, not a 7-day ride like this.
And in that, there are a lot of serious riders who do RAGBRAI. There's also a lot of the casual ones who maybe train for a month before, or maybe they're just going to ride a day or two. But we're getting into the spring season. It's that time of year where you're starting to check the bike tires. And I was out in the garage a few weeks ago getting our kids' bikes. Their tires aired up, and need to actually stop down and get a new tube for my daughter's bike because it was shot. And so I definitely need a new one. But this is the time of year to start getting your bikes tuned up and getting ready for the riding season. You don't have to be a RAGBRAI rider to take advantage of this wonderful weather and to get on a bike. And that's something that you guys are very passionate about at your shop at Harper Cycling and Fitness, because you'll fit a person to the type of bike that they need. You're not going to sell somebody a bike that they don't need. And I think that's the thing I've always enjoyed about buying my rides from you guys.
Well, thanks, Joel. Yeah, there's so many different types of bikes, and now it is spring and it's time to go and get the bike ready to start riding again. Not everybody's a RAGBRAI rider, but they're a recreational rider. Somebody that just rides for enjoyment, or there's competitive individuals that too. So there's bikes for all different types of riders, all sizes of riders. I'm just talking about RAGBRAI, having done so many of them, both personally as a rider and then as a bike shop doing repairs. We see the whole spectrum from some really beat-up looking bikes to some really state-of-the-art, high-end, very expensive bikes. And talking about riders and RAGBRAI, some riders, they get their bike box at the end of RAGBRAI, and it stays in that box until the next year. And they get it out, air up the tires, put it back in the box, and go on RAGBRAI. So the RAGBRAI veterans know what to expect and how to train for that type of ride. And then there's newbies that have never ridden RAGBRAI before, and when they come in and talk to me, when looking at riding RAGBRAI, I try to go and find out what type of riding they want to do. and make some recommendations, suggestions, so they can enjoy their bike riding. And that's what Harper's is all about, is we try to get people on bikes that they can ride and enjoy.
And Charlie, your whole family has been, in the bike world. I mean, my whole life, I know you always saw the Harper family riding the penny farthing bikes in the parades, and just every bike I think I've ever owned has come from your shop, and it's one of those. How many people walk up to you and tell you that story of that first bike that they got from Harper Cycling? Did you get that a lot?
We're seeing that pass through generations now. Been doing it long enough.
So that's got to be a real kind of intangible aspect of your job to know. Obviously, it's a business and it's a passion of you, but the people side of it has to just be an outstanding component to what you get to do every day.
We've got some of the stuff you see over the years. We've got a customer, Lucy Bonham, and she's going to go on RAGBRAI again this year, and she's only 91.
Wow, 91.
So you can't say, "Oh, I'm too old to go." Forget that.
Yeah, it's a great wellness activity. I know I had a knee injury last year, and riding a bike is really the one thing that I can do to kind of get that strength back.
Therapy, yeah.
That's great therapy, and whether it's a stationary bike, I bought a indoor bike trainer from Harper, so I can ride my bike in my own house. I didn't have to buy a fancy exercise bike. You can do that. Those are all of the things. Every aspect of the cycling world you can get down at your shop, and it's such a, with the trail system as it's expanded in Muscatine. I know you guys have been very involved in that. We're really creating a Muscatine that's a very safe and family-friendly place to get on a bike path and go ride your bike.
Exactly. Last year's opening of the trail down to Deep Lakes from Kentstein Park that added 5 miles has just been getting rave reviews from everybody that's ridden it. And those that haven't, they're in for a real treat to get out there and ride part of that trail. The other expansion of the West Side Trail from Kentstein up to Discovery Park, that will be done by, I've been told, Halloween of 2019. So that's one of the 4 projects that's being worked on. They had the funding from the state.
Yeah, that's one of the Pearls of Progress projects that has been, that funding was matched, and that's a great program with the community. I'm personally very excited for that West Side Trail to be done because I don't live too far from Discovery Park, and with 3 young ones, we're trail riders as a family. We've got our youngest, we put him in a Burley, and it's just a little bit more comfortable. We've got our oldest is off the training wheels, the middle one is still on the training wheels, and so any trail experience we can have in Discovery Park is a great little 1 mile loop. I mean, so if you just want to do some training, and another event in Muscatine that I don't know enough people know about, and you guys have been very involved with the Mellon City Bike Club, is the Mellon City Criterion. That is that Memorial Day weekend?
Memorial Day weekend is going to be May 27th, a Sunday, and this year will be the 40th year for that event. So it's one of those hidden gems in Muscatine that attracts riders from all over the country to ride and race their bike in a beautiful park. Muscatine's Weed Park's a beautiful park, and the racers like racing in the park because of the venue. It's a cool park with a downhill, and you have ducks.
Yeah, you got a nice downhill. They fly down. And there's that speed bump that's the best place to sit and watch, because they're coming down that big hill, and you can watch how these pros execute this speed bump. Yeah. And that's a fun place to view a bike race.
38, 40 mile an hour.
Yeah. I'm not too old to ride RAGBRAI. I'm too old to race down that hill and navigate that speed bump. I would wreck pretty badly.
That wouldn't be pretty.
Greg and Charlie Harper from Harper Cycling and Fitness, thanks so much for coming again. RAGBRAI is coming by us again this year, and in the springtime, it's not too late. Go get your bikes tuned up, and I want to make sure you do anything else you guys want to say.
Yep, it's a great time to get out and ride. Truck Fest starts this Thursday, goes from March 29th to April 8th. Stop in, great deals on bikes.
Yeah,
and accessories.
About 5 years ago, I bought my Trek. I think it's a 7.2 FX fitness bike, so it's got that. It's got a mountain bike feel, but it's got the road tires to it.
Exactly.
I bought that from you guys. It's a great bike, and so I highly recommend checking out Trek Fest. It's a great place to get your bicycles. So we're gonna say thank you again to Charlie and Greg. We're gonna go back to the aisle cam, the Hy-Vee aisle cam, as we get set up. Actually, do we want to go to the chef test cam here, Chad? Yeah, let's check out the chef test cam, because she's going to be our next guest, and we're going to be talking about this delicious chorizo chili that she's making. Again, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
So, Chef Tess, as we get rolling here, we're going to go to the aisle cam in just a second. Or, excuse me, the aisle cam in just a second. But what are you making over there? Is that chorizo you're putting in there?
Yes, this is a beef chorizo product, which is a Mexican sausage, for those of you that have never worked with it at home. It's available in our meat department. I think we have pork, we have chicken, and we might even have like a soy chorizo as well.
Oh, so we're a vegetarian option.
Yeah. So it's a great addition. If you're just trying to get used to working with the flavor of chorizo, I always recommend to mix it in with your ground beef for your tacos at home. Really, really simple. You can also do chicken tacos, and when you cook up the chorizo, the fat from the chorizo is going to kind of come out, as you can see in the pan here, and that will help create kind of like a sauce for that chicken. So it pairs really well with like a leaner chicken for tacos and enchiladas and things like that as well.
Well, and would you not have to add any other fat to the pan then if you're rendering that chorizo first?
No, not really. It's a pretty high fat item, so you're not going to need to add too much more. Which every once in a while, a little bit of extra fat in a dinner isn't a horrible thing. Fat is flavor, so.
Well, and the other thing is too is because it's such a flavorful item, you don't, like you said, you don't need to have to add a lot to it. So you have those packages for that chicken taco example. You can maybe use like a quarter of that package to go with your chicken, and then freeze the rest of that package. You put it in a freezer bag, and you can put it in the freezer, and it'll be good for the next time you need to use it.
Absolutely. I like to throw a little, like just a little knob of it, maybe like half that size, into my pan, my nonstick pan, before I start scrambling eggs for breakfast.
Ooh.
It's, again, really, really simple if you're not used to working with these flavors. So I always recommend like chorizo and eggs.
So,
it's a wonderful way to start the day.
So yesterday on our show, we talked about the chipotle and adobo and kind of the heat level of that. That's the smoked jalapenos. Where is chorizo on that spicy scale?
It's going to vary from brand to brand, but I would say the chorizo is going to be less spicy than the chipotles, just because the chipotle is it's a marinated jalapeno. So all of the heat from the seeds is kind of like infused into that adobo sauce. So you're kind of getting all that heat still, whereas the chorizo, the base for the chorizo, is actually a meat product that's then flavored with chili peppers and things like that. So it's going to be quite a bit less spicy than the pure pepper.
So while Chef Tess is kind of working on this chili, let's take a look at that poll for the candy. I don't know if we can go to that on our Facebook page. Just see how that vote is going. I know my vote, and this is tough because I love Starburst jelly beans. It's definitely one of my favorite things this time of year because they're seasonal. You can't get them all year round. But there's just something about the Reese's peanut butter egg that's one of the best things you can possibly eat in your life. And so that was what got my vote. I'm curious to see how everyone else has voted. And apparently I am with the people. I am a man of the people when it comes to Easter candy. And 85% of the 47 votes have gone to Starburst jelly beans. Now, you can still vote all the way up until 8 o'clock tomorrow. So tomorrow, when Tony Tone is back, he will have the final poll results. There's plenty of time for the Starburst jelly beans to make a comeback. They're the Loyola of Chicago, perhaps, for this candy championship, which the Final Four is Saturday. The Hy-Vee Market Grill Express is a great place to watch college basketball. I spent some of the first day of the NCAA tournament there eating. It's all-you-can-eat wings still through the end of March, and so Saturday will still definitely be in March, so you can take advantage of that benefit for the Final Four. You can grab a beer, enjoy the basketball games on the multiple TVs that they have, and I guess there's only going to be one game at a time on Saturday since it's the Final Four. Chili is a great Final Four, great sports thing to make, like Chef Tess is making right now at her chorizo chili. And I told you this before, Tess. I actually put some of the Hy-Vee Simple Fix chorizo chili recipe in our crock pot this morning as we were leaving the house. So we are having chorizo chili tonight at the Krausar household. So it's like the universe was in line and we were on the same page today, because that was a complete coincidence. I had no idea you were going to make that this morning.
So you can have it for dinner tonight, and then everybody else can have it at 11:30, 1:30 tomorrow.
When you're serving it.
Yep, I'll be selling it up front again. And we're actually, so I'm making this really nice chorizo chili, flavored with lots of Mexican spices and things like that, and then we're actually topping it with cheese curds from Ellsworth, Wisconsin, which is the cheese curd capital of the world. So we get them fresh from their factory. And so I'm going to do like a nice bowl of this chorizo chili and just top it with a handful of cheese curds.
That could be the greatest idea I've ever heard. So cheese curds are, explain to people, like I was scared of cheese curds as a kid because I didn't know what they were, and they're really just the purest form of cheese. That's what they drain off when they're in that first step of the cheese making process. That's what all the other cheese that we see in this beautiful cheese bunker behind me, that's all cheese curds that have been, put together basically in a wheel. Is that right?
So basically a cheese curd, all the other cheeses behind you, all the artesian cheeses, what they do is they take those curds and they drain them and they press them to make them more firm. Whereas with the cheese curd process, you kind of just stop when the curd is formed and you just eat it just like that. And you can flavor it, you can toss it with seasonings and things like that. They have like ranch flavored ones.
Wow.
Which are phenomenal if you've never had those.
I have not. That sounds like maybe something I need to grab on my way out the door. And, that's a great, healthy lunch option. That's something you can grab, keep them in the refrigerator at your office, or maybe you bring a lunchbox that's got an ice pack in it. Throw some cheese curds in there. Maybe that midday, at 10 o'clock, you're like, oh, I'm hungry. It's not quite lunchtime. Grab a couple cheese curds. That's a great option to get some nutrition into
Absolutely.
your life. Low carb, no carb, and have that opportunity to have a quick snack at your desk. So one of the things that I see as you're browning that meat. Now that's not all chorizo, right? You've cut that with some ground beef. Is that right?
Yes, I used our house ground beef from the meat department. There's probably about 10 pounds of that in here, and then probably about 6 pounds of the chorizo. So I don't really want, when you try this, I don't really want it to taste just like a mouthful of chorizo.
Sure.
I want it to taste like chili. I still want you to be able to get all the flavors of the peppers and everything, but it should taste different than any chili you've had before if you've never had one with chorizo in it. And that's kind of the idea.
So you're at a 6 to 10. So that's a 3/5. A 3/5 proportion there of beef to chorizo.
Yeah.
And are you using, so I know we were talking about burgers a little bit yesterday as we were looking at the Easter grilling ad that's in the back of this week's Voice of Muscatine, and you can pick that up too here in the store. 85-15 is a really good blend of beef for a hamburger. Like for chili, what are you using? Maybe a more leaner grind, or what kind of grind are you using for that?
I actually am using the 85-15. And what that's going to do is, as it cooks, along with the chorizo, is it's going to lend its fat to the pan, and then when I start to add the vegetables to kind of sweat all that together in the garlic, I'm going to have plenty of fat in this pan to coat everything and cook everything together. So I like to use a little bit of a higher fat. And then another trick that I do is, today's Wednesday, and I'm not serving this until Thursday.
Sure.
The reason why I'm making it today is, one, so that the flavors can meld together in the refrigerator overnight. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference. And then the other reason too is, after I chill this, all the fat's going to rise to the top. So I can use all that delicious fat for the cooking process, but then before I heat it tomorrow, I can remove it all from the top, which is awesome. So you're not going to end up with a greasy chili.
So you're getting the flavor of that fat because all that, like you mentioned, all those aromatics, the onions, the bell peppers, the garlic, all of that gets in, the flavors from that get into the fat. It transmits because they're water-soluble flavor molecules that then chemically react. They move throughout the chili, and then they marinate in itself as it cools everything overnight, and then you can remove that tomorrow. That's a great way. You should always make chili a day in advance, basically, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and then I also do the same thing with, soups in general. When you're using, if you're simmering like a whole chicken to make like a chicken noodle soup or something like that, or even just like chicken stock, all the fat from the skin of the chicken is going to rise to the top as it cools so that you can take it off. And it's a really, really great way to remove excess fat from your dish before you serve it. Because there's a point where too much fat in a dish really is too much, and it's not pleasant. It'll give you kind of like that greasy mouth feel because it's floating on the top of like your soup or your chili. So I always try and remove that. Makes it a little bit leaner. Removes some calories.
But you're not sacrificing flavor at
No.
the same time. No, I'm a person who has to add some crunch to my chili. I mean, is that? I'm a big Frito chip guy. Put the corn chips in there. Is that like my wife's family has this? They call it Chili Billy. I think it's like the school cafeteria called it that at the town that she grew up in, and it's corn chips, and then you put the chili on it, and then you just put a big dollop of sour cream on there too.
Yeah,
is that
like a kind of like a Frito walking taco, but it's not walking anymore.
Right,
sort of thing. Yeah,
and you don't walk after it. You just kind of sit on the couch and process. But that's a good way too to maybe cut some of the heat. You can make a spicier chili with this chorizo, and you can supplement. You don't have to use as much chili. So if you've got kids, you're making it at home. You can make it a little less spicy that way by adding a little bit more sour cream to it. Now, when I make chili, I use beer as my base. Is that something that you've ever done?
I don't know if I've ever added beer to chili before. I don't think that I have. I've heard of it. Definitely. Nothing wrong with it. I'd love to try your chili.
Are those now do you add beans? That's the other thing with chili. Is this going to have beans in it?
Yes. I'm going to use 3 different kinds of beans. I'm going to use chili style beans. I'm going to use red kidney beans, and I'm going to use black beans. So there's going to be lots of different kinds of colors. I like chili that's pretty. It's got to taste good. That's the most important thing. But when it looks awesome too, it really sets it off. That's why I use a bunch of different colored peppers, not just one color. So I've got orange, red, and green.
So is it, I have found that there's some misconception with bell pepper. Like a red bell pepper is not spicier than a green bell pepper. It's just they're basically the same thing, just the someone figured out in the Punnett Square that they could change the color of this thing. Is that right?
Yeah, they're pretty darn close. Some people are a little sensitive to green peppers.
Okay.
Versus the other colors. And there's very, very small difference in their flavor. And I would just say the best way to describe it is that red, like the colored peppers, like the red, the yellow, the orange, those are going to have more of like a sweet pepper flavor. Whereas the green ones, they just taste more green. They taste more like a garden pepper.
Sure.
They're virtually interchangeable for any recipe, but that's just one of the main differences. And then a lot of the times a green pepper is going to have a thicker wall to it than the other colored peppers. So that's why people use them for stuffed peppers a lot, because they have like that thick wall.
Which stuffed peppers, a great way to use leftover chili.
Yeah.
If you've got chili left over, you cook up, take some of that stock out of the pantry that we were talking about yesterday, make some minute rice in stock, some chicken stock, and then take the leftover chili, mix that in with that rice, and put that in a pepper, and then bake it off in the stuffed pepper.
Oh, absolutely. You can also do baked potatoes. Baked potatoes stuffed with chili as well.
That'd be really good.
So, yeah.
The other thing, too, is stuffed peppers on the grill. People need to realize that is very accessible.
Yeah.
Use the hot dog rack to make stuffed peppers on the grill. So you don't have the direct heat. You've just got your stuffed pepper right there on that hot dog rack.
Yep.
Underrated part of the grill is the hot dog rack.
Absolutely. You can always wrap things and wrap the bottom of them in foil too, just to kind of protect them. If you have a grill that's not super even. I know grills vary.
Yeah.
Every grill is different. So if you have a grill that tends to like flare up, you can use a couple layers of aluminum foil to kind of help you out a little bit.
I feel like grills are kind of like golf clubs. Like if you're a good golfer, you still can struggle if you're playing with somebody else's clubs. Like I'm very comfortable behind the grill, but I go to my parents' house and I use their grill. Mm-hmm. I'm lost. I just don't. It just doesn't feel the same. Like you said, every grill kind of has their own temperament and their own feel to it, and you know where the hot spots are. Even the greatest grills ever made have a few hot spots here and there, and you just
absolutely. And it goes the same for me. Like I'm a professional chef, but you get used to working with the equipment that you're used to. Well, I always tell people one of the really fun things about my job here at Hy-Vee is when I go to cook at other people's houses, I'm using their oven, I'm using their stove. Every time it's for the very first time. So it forces you to become a little bit more versatile in working outside of your comfort zone, which has helped me grow a lot, because other jobs you have like, this is your grill, this is your stove, and we do all of our cooking off of those pieces of equipment. But when you're forced to use something that you're not used to working with, you have to rely on your senses a lot more to execute like a really nice dinner.
It's like your life is like one of those cooking challenge shows on one of the, where they're like, hey, go bake a cake at a campfire in the middle of the mountains, that sort of thing. It's not that extreme, but you definitely have to be adaptable and think on your feet. And that's where knowing your fundamentals come in. So if you're watching this today and you're a home cook, or you want to become a better home cook, what is there one tip with this recipe in particular? I think sometimes people maybe use too much heat. Like, I know I have one of those electric stoves with the glass top stove. Do people sometimes cook on too high a temperature? Is that something that people can adjust to?
Could be, absolutely. I think one of the critical things when like making a chili is that you want to use high heat in the beginning, because you want to like get a little bit of brown on your meat. And I feel like a lot of people, when they're following a recipe and it says like brown your ground beef, they just kind of cook it. Whereas if you start it with some oil, get it nice and hot before you ever add anything to the pan, you're actually going to get like a brown sear on it, like you would like a burger patty in a cast iron, sort of the same thing. And that's all flavor. So when you skip that step and you don't have your heat high enough, you're kind of missing out on a lot of flavor. But it's critical after that point, when your burger's all cooked and it's nice and brown and everything like that, that you reduce your heat back down so that you can gently start to sweat out your aromatics. And it's all about, most dishes, especially a one-pot dish like chili, is all about just building levels of flavor, which is why like something as small as making sure your hamburger is properly browned, it's such a critical thing, because you're going to lose out on so much flavor if you don't do that.
Yeah. So when you're looking at your hamburger and your chorizo in this recipe, like what do you want it to look like as you're browning it?
Well, this is going to look a little bit different just because the chorizo itself, like you can kind of see like the oil in the bottom of the pan is like an orange. So it kind of takes over that whole hue. But in the beginning, when I first laid down like the chorizo and the burger, like I said, it just kind of looks like when you throw a burger, like a burger patty on a hot surface, you're going to get that like dark brown versus just like the kind of like gray of burger that's just been kind of slowly cooked in its own fat. So that's kind of what I was looking for at first before I started to kind of break it all up into smaller pieces. And now it's just kind of got that orange hue to it. And it looks like a taco ready ground beef mixture right now, but that's just cooked ground beef and chorizo. That's all the spices from the chorizo in there, which again, it's almost like adding a little bit of sauce to any dish. It's a great addition to enchilada meat, taco fillings, breakfast casseroles. Chorizo fits everywhere.
Well, and you've made a big batch of it, and obviously you're going to be serving this chorizo chili tomorrow between 11:30 and 1:30 here at the store, or 11:30 and 1.
11:30 to 1:30.
1:30. Okay,
Yep.
So great. Come over, grab that for lunch. You've got those beautiful aromatics and bell peppers, onions getting ready to be added to this, so you can see the finished product tomorrow when you come and get it for lunch. But if you were making this at home, you can make all of this and use this mixture. You could freeze it. You could use it for future use, and like all those different recipes you were just talking about. It's the busy time of year, and we're talking about yesterday pantry items. Mm-hmm. You can use your freezer as a pantry too. So you make a big batch of something like this on a Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely.
Put it in the freezer, and now you've got 3 ball games coming up in May. You can make scramble some eggs. Put some of this in there with it, wrap it in some tortillas, and now you've got some breakfast burritos that people could eat for lunch or supper on their way out the door. You can eat it in the car even, that sort of thing. You're
Chili
making
in the car. That's pretty daring.
Well, okay. Yeah, I would never do it, but you could just eat it. It's something you could heat up on your way out the door, put it through a thermos or whatever, and you could eat it in the stands. It's a way to have kind of ballpark food without having to go to the concession stand to do
homemade
it.
Ballpark food, absolutely. We do a lot of that at home. There's just 2 of us at home, and I'm a chef, so I'm used to cooking. And not quite, I don't make batches this big at home, but also they're pretty big.
The last thing you want to do when you come home some days is probably crank up the stove and cook.
Yes, people ask me that all the time. Like, do you cook at home? And it's just like, yes. I mean, I have to eat, But just like everybody else, I mean, I love what I do, but this is work. And sometimes, no matter what you do, you don't want to cook when you get home. So, we go out and we like to stock up the freezer, and I'll make big batches of things like this, like ham and bean soup, leftover like Thanksgiving ham. I made a killer batch of that, and I've still got like one portion that I'm hanging on to for a special occasion because it was super tasty. But when I make like big batches of stuff, I put it in Ziploc bags, seal it so there's no air inside of it, and lay it flat until it's frozen. And then once it's frozen, you can like lay it back up like a little catalog, almost like a file catalog, and pull them out.
This is my frozen soup Rolodex.
My catalog of my Rolodex of frozen soup, and then also because it's frozen flat, it thaws out a lot faster.
Nice.
Which is critical, and you can do that in like a family style, like a gallon Ziploc bag, and then you can also do like individual ones. So sometimes when I want something for one of them for lunch, I'll just grab one of the smaller ones, throw it. It'll thaw out in my lunchbox as the day goes on, and then when it comes time to lunch, it just takes a quick zap in the microwave and homemade soup up in the break room.
Yeah, see, these are all great ideas, and I know I mentioned that my family tonight will be eating a chorizo chili that we got from the Simple Fix program, which is another program here at the Muscatine Hy-Vee. You come and you have that ability you get a group of friends together, and it's basically grocery sharing. So, like for example, my wife made a chicken dish where they were able to, I think that the whole group bought 10 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Well, you divide that whole gross total by the 10 people, so you're actually saving money. You're planning. They're all freezer ready, so you're able to put them right in your freezer when you get home, or you can keep a couple out for that week. And it's a way to meal plan. You have a variety. You're not eating the same. My mom is probably watching. She was an outstanding cook. She still is an outstanding cook. But we had the same meals a lot growing up. And this is a way to kind of vary that. And so you don't have the same casserole, a couple times in a month. You have some good variety of things for the grill. So check out the Simple Fix program. You can call here to Hy-Vee and they'll get you set up with a group, or you can put a group together. It's a great way to do that. I know, Chef Tess, you said there's a lot of people who come and they do stuff like that here at the store.
Absolutely. The whole program has really taken off. Becky Danner is the person to ask for when you call and you want more information on those classes. She runs the whole thing. She does a really great job. She'll get you set up with a group if you don't have a group. If you have enough people to create a group, then she'll get you set up with a date in the club room. And it's really, really cool. You come together, you can grab
drink some wine if you want to.
I was just going to say, you can grab a bottle of wine from Wine and Spirits before you come in. It's really, really, really fun. People have a great time. Sometimes I'll walk, I don't do the classes, but I've walked by while they've been in there, and it just sounds like they are having a blast. Some groups have a lot of fun, so.
Yeah, I know that it's a social experience too. I know my wife enjoys being around adults after being around kids all day, every day. So we're going to get ready. We're going to go back to the Toyota of Muscatine cart cam in just a second, if that's possible. I don't know if it's possible. We do have, you just need to remember, Easter is right around the corner, and we are getting ready for the Easter season, and there is the seasonal aisle, which I walked through it yesterday, and I walked by it again today. Everything you could possibly need for your Easter holiday is right here at your Muscatine Hy-Vee. From the candy that we were talking about, the Starburst jelly beans, the Reese's peanut butter eggs, the Peeps, which I know are a dividing confection. Is it even a confection? Am I giving Peeps too much credit by calling it a confection there, Chef Tess? Yeah. So but you can get all of these in the seasonal aisle. We're going to go right now to the Hy-Vee aisle cam here as we get that going on, and then in a little bit we're going to be talking a little bit more about affordable metal manufacturing, my employer, who has given me the opportunity to sit in and be the guest host today. And again, so the card cam from Toyota of Muscatine, we're going to be able to go to it here in just a second as we check out the aisle cam. Oh, we're at the deli counter. Brian McNelly and his crew there at the deli counter. Pastrami, that's my go-to thing. And turkey pastrami, as I'm trying to eat a little bit better. The turkey pastrami at the Hy-Vee deli counter is always a good thing to go to. And Chef Tess, another great entertaining thing that I discovered, the Cuban sandwich, perhaps one of the easiest things to make. just good ham, good Swiss cheese, and pickles and mustard, and you look like a superstar, and it's like everything you already have in your pantry. So there's our Toyota Muscatine Cart Cam as we head to the seasonal aisle, which you can see at the far, if you're looking at the store from the front, the far left-hand side by the CBI Bank and Trust bank. You can come up there, and there's our seasonal aisle. There's all those wonderful candies to help the Easter Bunny fill the baskets. And you've got the Starburst jelly beans coming up there, right there. There they are. You can see the big family-size bag. Stock up on that before they are gone because they aren't available all year round. Cadbury Cream Egg, another polarizing Easter confection. That is a confection because I love those things. Cadbury Cream Eggs, people love them or hate them. I'm in the love category for that. And then there's your Easter eggs. So Easter egg hunt, you could have Easter egg hunts all year round. We do that at my house. It's a fun way to have a good family activity, and there's fun. Those little ducks are pretty cool too. There's your chocolate bunnies, always a hit this time of year. And then we're coming up here, and it's an underrated part of the Hy-Vee offerings. If you stop right there with the card cam, to your left, there are actually board games right there. And I was walking through that aisle the other day, Chef Tess, and guess who? Remember that board game?
I do.
You can buy that game here at Hy-Vee. It's very inexpensive. That's one of my favorite games ever as a kid. We used to play that at indoor recess all the time at St. Mary Matthias Catholic School. And I don't remember what my character was I used to always try to be, but eventually my friends figured out that I was always going to try to be that character, so they just guessed it right off the bat. So I'm not a very prolific Guess Who player, is what I learned growing up. So that is our Toyota Muscatine Cart Cam. Come and check out all the great seasonal items here at your Muscatine Hy-Vee. It is grilling season, and so lots of opportunities to get your meat counter. They've got it all set up. We talked to Mike Church a little bit yesterday off the air. They're excited for this Easter season. The weather's going to be good, I think, to get out and check out that grill. And don't be afraid to add. You can get the little wood smoking chips here at your Hy-Vee store. Soak those in some water, put them in a foil pack, throw that on with your grill. You can get a little bit of smoke flavor while you're doing your traditional grilling. Just another little helpful grilling hint here from your Hy-Vee today. So we're going to go to the Affordable Metal Manufacturing website here, where that is my employer. I am the sales and marketing director for Affordable Metal Manufacturing. You can see our big sign that says Metal Roofs in the old Muscatine Racquetball Club is where we are located. And a big thank you to Hy-Vee for letting me come on and talk a little bit about what I do on a daily basis, which is we sell metal roofing. We are a roll former, so we are rolling that steel out in our facility daily to order, custom lengths. And you might think, man, custom, that's got to be more expensive. It's actually the opposite. It allows us to control our costs a lot better because we're not wasting anything. Everything is being utilized so we can keep our inventory low, we can keep our inventory high and our output low so that we're not wasting any material. And we're not just a roofing supplier. I can sell you a pole barn. So maybe you're looking for that 40 by 80 building, to put your ATVs, some of those fun side-by-side type things. Maybe you have a couple acres and you need a big storage shed. We can sell you the whole building, whether it be a wood pole barn or a hybrid steel building, which is wood main frames with wood purlins and girts, which allows you to customize the space, all the way to Sukup steel buildings. Sukup, one of the leaders in agriculture buildings. We are a dealer for Sukup steel buildings as well at Affordable Metal Manufacturing. Those hybrid steel buildings, though, are really neat because you can span up to 200 feet wide without having any center posts. So you can do anything. It's a very versatile structure, as Ryan's doing a great job of bringing up our website and the pictures. That is an example right there on your screen of a hybrid steel building right there. And now that is called standing seam hidden fastener. You can't see the screws on that. They are hidden, so you can't see that. A metal roof is not going to leak if you install it properly, and we can set you up with some great contractors who can put that metal roof on, and we have a lot of different finishes. So come see us at Affordable Metal Manufacturing. You can call us at 563-264-8212. Ryan, can you go to the Request a Quote tab? I want to walk through that real fast if you go to the request a quote on our website. A very simple form. You just put your name in, you put your address. If you are a business, we'd love to have you let us know. We can put the company name on there, the address, and then there's just a few qualifying questions to let us know what kind of product you're looking for. If you're looking for a new building, give us the measurements of the building. If you're looking for a new roof, we need to know the measurements of your building so that we can price out the roof accurately. And it also just gives us a way to contact you. Now, I will tell you this form is directly emailed to me and only me. So you can see me, you know that it's not going to some bot or some marketing service somewhere. It's coming to me, Joel Krausar at Affordable Metal Manufacturing. So your information's not going to get spammed. You're not going to have all of this, the junk email. The only thing you'll get is direct line of communication from me. We're a local owned business. Russ Miller is our owner. We've been in business for 10 years, 5 years in Muscatine. We started in Kelowna and moved to Muscatine 5 years ago in April. And we value our community tremendously. And it's a great place to work. But
Brian,
most
did you guys make
importantly,
salsa
it's a
recently?
great place to have your
Did you guys make salsa recently?
building or roof updated. The steel that we sell has
no,
a
I need my
40-year
can opener. I
warranty
can't find
on
it.
So it's not going to fade, crack, or anything. For 40 years, it's got a warranty for that.
Okay.
And it's Class 4 impact rated, which means it can handle up to hurricane force winds. So tremendous high quality product. It'll be the last roof you ever put on your house. So come see us at Affordable Metal Manufacturing. And we're back to the Toyota of Muscatine cart cam as they come up through the meat counter. That ground beef that Chef Tess was using for her chili. Those great ribeye steaks that you just went by. Maybe you want to make a steak sandwich for the weekend. They can get you all set up with that there. And then our pork chops, which I believe are on sale right now. You can check out that the Easter grilling ad at the back of the Voice of Muscatine newspaper and here in the store. So your one-stop shop for the holiday weekend. I know many of you probably don't have to work on Friday, and for those of you who do, thank you for working. We appreciate it. And there's that Hy-Vee Easter grilling ad. 8 for $10 on those muskie chops. $7.99 a pound for the Choice Reserve New York strip steaks. And then you have your ground chuck patties, 8 for $10. That Florida sweet corn, $3.99. It's for the 5 packs, and then you got the buy one get one free ketchup. That's worth coming in just for that. To get that buy one get one free ketchup. Because ketchup is one of those pantry items that you can throw in there. And if you're grilling burgers this weekend, go grab some of the deli sliced Colby Jack cheese on sale for $3.99 a pound. And if you want to wet your whistle, the new Bud Light Orange on sale for $6.99, and the $7.99 Smirnoff Red, White, and Berry, as well as my favorite potato chip that has ever been made, the Sturzing's potato chips, 4 for $10. And maybe you've got family coming over. Maybe you're getting ready to travel on Thursday, or you're coming back from your travel. Go get one of those Toscana pizzas for $8.99. You can get those to have ready for you when you come back, maybe from your family on Sunday, so you don't have to think too much. You can just make a good meal. If you want to do that Lenten supper, that Good Friday, you got some Jamaican shrimp skewers there on sale too. 4 for $5. And those kitchen salads, that's the biggest value. That 10 cent per gallon for every pound that's purchased. So you buy 3 pounds of salad, maybe you get a pound of 3 salads. For your get-together, you're going to get 30 cents off. So of your fuel saver. So I'm Joel Krausar, special guest host today on Hy-Vee Today.
Morning.
Tony will be back tomorrow. A big thank you to Media Tree, Chad Yoakum, and Ryan Broderson. I said it wrong yesterday. Ryan Broderson and his team bringing a great broadcast, and a big thank you to Chef Tess as well. Come check out that chili between 11:30 and 1:30 tomorrow for lunch. And also check out the rebroadcast of Hy-Vee Today every day at 7:30 and 10:30 p.m. on the Remax channel, Channel 5 on Muscatine Power and Water Cable. This has been Hy-Vee Today. Thank you so much. I'm Joel Krausar, and you never know. I might be back sometime. Hopefully I did a good enough job they let me come back. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a happy Easter, everyone.
Thanks for watching Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone. We'll do it again tomorrow with more local guests from in and around the Muscatine community. Questions, comments, know a great guest? Reach out to Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone on Facebook or via email hyveetoday@gmail.com.
Put this stuff out.